It was a quiet morning when Marcus, 82 years old, leaned back in his rocking chair and said something that stopped his daughter in her tracks. "You know," he told her, "I feel lighter today than I did when I was 30. She smiled, expecting a joke. But he wasn't talking about his body, he was talking about his heart. That morning, Harold did something most people avoid their entire lives. He let go, not of a person or a possession, but of a habit. A way of thinking he'd carried for decades, believing it kept him safe. The moment he released it, he discovered something unexpected: peace. You see, aging brings clarity. With every year we gain new insight, not just about the world around us, but about ourselves. We start to see that many things we held onto weren't keeping us strong, they were keeping us stuck. We believed those habits were part of who we were, but in truth, they were just layers we picked up along the way, some to protect ourselves, some to please others, and a few simply out of fear. As life slows down, we get a rare opportunity to ask ourselves, what am I still carrying that I don't need? But this reflection isn't only for those in their later years, it's for anyone who wants to live lighter, clearer, and more peacefully. Because peace doesn't always come from adding more, it often comes from letting go. Less defending, less regretting, less comparing. Many who've lived long lives say their real joy came not from what they gained, but from what they finally gave up. In this video, we'll explore 5 habits that older adults have released and, in doing so, discovered lasting peace. These aren't dramatic life overhauls. They're quiet, small, powerful choices that transform life from surviving into truly living. And stay with me until habit 5. It's the hardest to notice, but once you let it go, it can bring a peace you haven't felt in decades. Let's begin. Habit 1. Holding grudges. Grudges feel justified. They feel like strength, like boundaries, like proof that we won't be hurt again. But over time, a grudge becomes something else. It becomes heavy. It quietly wraps itself around your heart and hardens it. It doesn't protect your peace, it prevents it. What begins as a moment of hurt becomes a story you replay, a story where you're always right and someone else is always wrong. Helen, 74, shared, "My cousin and I were like sisters, but we stopped speaking over a small inheritance dispute. It wasn't really about money, it was about betrayal. I held that pain for years. Then one day, I looked at an old photo of us as kids. I didn't cry because I missed her, I cried because I missed who I was before I was angry." Forgiveness isn't a gift you give the other person, it's a release you give yourself. You forgive not to let them off the hook, but to take yourself off the hook, to stop reliving old pain, to reclaim your energy. Most who have finally let go of grudges say the same thing. They wish they'd done it sooner, not because the other person changed, but because they did. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means deciding you won't carry hurt meant to be temporary, and in its place, finding the steady rhythm of peace. Habit 2. The need to be right. It often starts innocently. You correct someone to help. You explain your side to be clear. You push a little harder because you want the truth to be known. But over time, the need to be right stops being about clarity. It becomes about control, about pride, and about fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being dismissed, fear of not being heard. The longer you carry this habit, the more it costs you. Conversations grow colder, dinners get quieter. Relationships once full of laughter turn into battlegrounds over small victories that leave everyone feeling lost. Many in their later years look back and see how often they let the need to be right get in the way of simply being close. George, a former accountant, shared, "I used to argue with my brother about everything: facts, history, even who Mom liked more. I thought it was harmless, but after he passed, I didn't remember the wins. I remembered the silences I caused. I'd give anything for one more easy conversation with him, just one more laugh, not a debate." There's a kind of peace that comes when you let go of proving yourself, when you realize that being right isn't the same as being wise. Wisdom knows the most powerful thing you can do is sometimes stay quiet. Let someone else speak. Let a disagreement drift by, not because you're weak, but because you've learned harmony matters more than pride. When you release this habit, you don't lose anything. You gain freedom, connection, and the peace that comes not from being the smartest voice in the room, but the kindest one. Habit 3. Comparing yourself to others. At some point, most of us start asking silent questions. Did I do enough? Am I as successful as others my age? Why do they seem so much happier? These questions don't come from curiosity, they come from comparison. And comparison, though often invisible, can quietly drain joy from a life that should feel content. You see someone else's children achieving big things and wonder if yours should be further along. You hear about a neighbor's travels and feel you've missed out. You scroll through photos online, measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel. Many older adults say this habit didn't feel harmful at first. It started as admiration, but over time, it grew into questioning, then self-doubt, then disappointment. Joanne, 77, shared, "My best friend retired and started traveling the world. I was happy for her, but I'd sit in my garden and think, should I be doing more? Then one day my granddaughter said, 'Grandma, I love your backyard. It's my favorite place in the world.' And I realized this little garden had given me something just as rich: time, connection, roots." The truth is, there's no universal timeline for life, no scoreboard, no final grade. What brings one person peace may not suit another, and that isn't failure, it's freedom. When you stop comparing, you start noticing. You see your own blessings clearly, you feel your own joy without distortion, because gratitude grounds you where comparison distracts. Letting go of this habit is one of the most powerful ways to reclaim the happiness that was always yours. Habit 4. Worrying about the future. Worry often disguises itself as responsibility. You tell yourself that if you just think enough, plan enough, anticipate enough, you'll be safe. But worry doesn't protect you from tomorrow, it robs you of today. As we age, we see this clearly. We worried about things that never happened, braced for storms that never came, and in the process, missed the calm days, the good moments, the people right in front of us. Albert, 80, put it simply, "I spent my 50s worrying I'd get sick, my 60s worrying about my kids, my 70s worrying I'd run out of money. Now, I realize most of what I feared never happened. But I lost a lot of good sleep and good meals along the way." Caring about the future isn't the same as being consumed by it. You can care without letting fear steal your joy. Letting go of worry doesn't mean giving up on wisdom. It means giving up the illusion that fear keeps you safe. It doesn't. But presence does. Gratitude does. A walk outside, a deep breath, a laugh with someone you love, these are what build real strength for tomorrow. And when you stop filling your mind with imaginary troubles, you'll finally see how many real blessings are already here. Habit 5. Carrying regret. Of all the habits we carry, regret may be the heaviest. It's the quiet voice that whispers when you're alone. It replays moments, words you didn't say, things you wish you'd done differently, chances you didn't take. The older we get, the more we're tempted to sit with that voice and let it define our story. But many seniors eventually discover regret isn't a punishment you have to endure. It's a teacher, a mirror, a moment of reflection, not a lifetime sentence. Joseph, 85, shared, "I spent years regretting not speaking at my son's wedding. I had a chance to tell him how proud I was and I froze. For decades I carried that moment like a failure, but then I realized I still had time. Not to redo the past, but to create new moments. So I did." Letting go of regret doesn't mean pretending nothing went wrong. It means forgiving yourself, looking honestly at your mistakes and missed opportunities and choosing to grow rather than live under them. It means offering yourself the same kindness you've likely given others 100 times. When you release regret, you open the door to healing, love, and presence. You see that every day you wake up is a second chance to rewrite the past, but to write a better present. And there is no peace more powerful than that. There comes a moment in life when the question shifts. What do I no longer want to carry? And that question can change everything. Because peace isn't found in chasing, accumulating, or proving. It's found in releasing, simplifying, and choosing what matters most. These 9 habits: the need to be right, holding grudges, worrying about the future, comparing yourself to others, perfectionism, guilt-based yeses, chasing approval, attachment to possessions, and carrying regrettal have one thing in common. They promise protection but deliver pressure. They offer identity but steal your energy. And when you let them go, you discover something far more lasting: calm, clarity, and a deeper connection to who you really are. So ask yourself, which of these habits still lives in me? Which one am I ready to release? Not someday, but today? Because every time you let something go, you return to your own values, your own joy, your own peace. If even one of these habits spoke to your heart, let us know in the comments. You're not alone on this journey. Your reflection might give someone else the courage to begin. Next time, we'll explore the 7 types of people seniors quietly avoid for a happier life. Until then, may your days feel lighter, your mind clearer, and your peace deeper than ever before.